What's the motherfucking deal, man? Welcome to the Den. I'm your host, Ed Honcho. Make sure you check out the Den at 10 a.m. and 10 p.m. Central every day to call in live, share your thoughts with the Den folk. But all the stuff will be on the screen, social media. Let's get into this story. Okay, this is something that I've been talking about for quite some time, and people sit here and say, because I don't necessarily agree, I don't hate anybody, I don't hate anyone. But I'll get the homophobic comments, the transphobic comments, all these things simply because I'm pointing out something that just does not make sense to me. But because if you're not kissing the ground that certain protected groups walk on, you get vilified, right? So anyway, let's get into this. This is something that I've been talking about for quite some time, and even way back when we saw the two little dudes, or the two transgender track runners in Connecticut, and they're men transitioning into women and just dominating women's. Well, let's talk about it, right? So let's get into this conversation. This lovely young lady here just won a national championship for Franklin Pierce. Let's talk about it, man. This is the shenanigans that I'm just, the society that we live in, man. It's if you don't see it, I can't explain it to you. Let's just get into it. We got a couple of articles. I'll post all the links to these articles down below so you can see them for yourself and make your own determination, your own decision. And there's a video of this young lady speaking her mind, and she says that she doesn't view herself, and yes, I make sure I use the proper pronouns, right? Fuck all that. They don't view themselves as a trans. They view themselves as a straight woman that likes heterosexual straight men. There's some problems with that. Anyway, all the links will be down. I'm not going to show the video on this video. Let's just get into these articles. And I don't want to know what your thoughts in the comments below, whether you agree, you disagree. I'm telling you, women's sports are over. But if you have men competing as women in women's sports, they might get a little bit more excited. And I hate to see it because honestly, the young ladies who work very hard to try to get scholarships and things like that to supplement college, paying for college, and they're missing out on these opportunities because of stuff like this. But let's just get into the whole background of this story, because they don't tell you everything. You got to make sure you got to check 2 or 3 articles to get the truth. So let's get into it. This is CeCe Telfer, formerly known as Craig Telfer, last year. But let's talk about it. Because I had questions, like I was wondering, did anybody ever, did a transgender ever get a scholarship? Let's talk about how this worked, right? This is from the Gateway Pundit, and let's just kind of scroll quickly. I'm not going to read each and every word. Like I said, I'll put the links down below so you can check it out for yourself. CeCe Telfer, biological male, won the 400 meters on Saturday night, beat the second place competitor by over a full second. Now, just listen now. Craig Telfer got a scholarship, I'm assuming, or was a track runner at Franklin Pierce University. Craig decided to transition after his junior year, becoming CeCe, determined that, hey, now I'm CeCe. And I want y'all to pay attention to where Craig went from in his career and where CeCe is in their career, okay? Just pay attention, and a lot of this is going to happen, and there's a mentality behind a lot of this stuff. But let's get into it. The coach praised CeCe for being the first student athlete in Franklin Pierce history to collect an individual national title. Just kind of run through all that. NCAA says, inclusion of transgender student athletes because they believe and are committed to diversity, inclusion, and gender equality among student athletes, coaches, and administrators. We seek to establish and maintain inclusive culture that fosters equitable participation for student athletes, career opportunities for coaches and administrators from diverse backgrounds. Right. And so the coach said something about that. Today was a microcosm of her entire season. She was not going to let anything slow her down, not even a dick and balls. But I've never met anybody as strong as her mentally in my entire life. What is this always the strong thing? Because I'm going to tell you why I disagree with that in just a minute, right? Tough conditions out here with the wind and the heat over the last 3 days, but she has over the last 6 months, who've been CeCe for less than a year, proved herself tough enough to coaches. This coach speak is getting out of control. You know, we already know how this goes. But then he kind of goes to mention Rachel McKinnon, the man who won the women's cycling world championship last year in October, and then the two biological males that have crushed in Connecticut. And yeah, so, but you know, the feminists, the women who are supposed to be about women's rights, you don't really hear them saying too much about this, and I find that extremely interesting. But let's carry on, because no falsehoods here. It says equality male NCAA Trackstar switches up to female senior year and cleans up. Also was named the women's most outstanding track performer. You know how many women have spent their entire lives maybe running track, being athletes, whatever it is, probably also in their senior years of their track career, who probably had a great junior year where they trained hard to have a great senior year, and then Craig becomes CeCe and just jumps over and demolishes them. What a world we live in. NCAA Trackstar, CeCe Telfer cleaning up women's track, breaking records, racking up points for Franklin Pierce University. Telfer, notably a biological male who now identifies as female. Last year, CeCe was going by birth name. Craig was a top athlete in the men's division. Not so much, we'll talk about that. You know, Telfer's headed to the NCAA championships, reported 8th night. But it says Telfer is qualified in a pair of events, will compete in the 200 meter dash, 60 meter hurdles. Nothing that Telfer has the fastest time of the year in the 200 meter dash, 24.08 seconds, which set the Northeast 10 Conference Championship earlier this month. The fastest time in 60 meter hurdles was 8.33 seconds, came in December, UMass Boston Indoor. Ranked third in the country in hurdles and seventh in the 200 meter. I get third in the country, that's terrible. Anyway, 21-year-old cleaned up last Sunday at Smith College, taking home 3 Northeastern 10 conference titles, scoring 31 of the school's 49.5 points. It was the highest in any 10 championship finish in program history. You know, let's just kind of breeze through this. Telfer met NCAA championship provisional qualifying standards in all 3 events. 7.63 in the 60 meter dash, 24.45 seconds in the 200 meter dash, 8.49 in the 60 meter hurdles. The hurdles time broke her own record, which had been set Saturday in preliminary heat. Craziness. Noted by Daily Caller's Peter Hansen, Telfer is one of the fastest runners in NCAA women's track and field at any division, not just at the D2 level. Telfer's best time in the 55 meter dash, time the 3rd fastest runner on the D1 level. Anyway, we talked about, you know, most outstanding track performer, all that other good stuff, right? You know, a couple of tweets, some congratulations, and we mentioned the policy. So again, I want to know your thoughts about this. So going from a man who was not even placing, was really like in 8th, 9th place at a lot of meets, I think we'll get into that in a second, then transitioning into a woman and becoming almost the best in the country. Is this not a problem? Is this not something to question? Now, this was Daily Wire. Let's slide over here. This is a site I'm not super familiar with called Turtle Boy Sports, but they basically produced basically the cards showing the time and everything that was being set. So let's talk about it. We'll kind of start from the bottom. CeCe won all 3 events that he ran in, competed a bunch against biological women, won the 60 meters, stealing a victory from Stonehill senior Olivia Dexter and Assumption College's Victoria Stefan, a Massachusetts graduate. So let's look at this, right? CeCe Telfer with a preliminary time of 7.69, right? Then the next 2 chicks behind CeCe, 7.62, which is not much slower, and then 7.83, okay? But in the finals, you have a time of, by basically a hair, and so this is really questionable. You're at a 7.63 with the little pound sign, I guess that rounds up. Because what you have is a 7.623 and then a 7.624. So we're talking about hundreds of thousands of a second, basically, against a biologically born woman. But there's that. But that time would have been 0.72 seconds behind the men's winner and a full half second behind the 8th place finisher in the men's division. So that should tell you something. There's a reason why Craig became CeCe, but let's carry on. In the men's, it shows you here that to let you see what the times were. And again, that wouldn't have been even good for 8th place in the men's. But yet you go from that to being 1st place in the women's. Anyway, 200 meter dash, right? Let's take a look at this. Prelims, 24.47. Finals, 24.45, right? And then the next closest was 24.80, which was about, 0.35 seconds slower, right? But let's talk about this, right? Let's talk about this. This time of 24.45 was nearly 3 entire seconds slower than the men's winner, and nearly 2 seconds behind the 8th place finisher on the men's side. Why is this happening? Why are these guys who are born men, biological men, deciding to transition in the middle of their sports career when they realize that they're not competing with other men? Is it the easy way? Is it a cop-out? Is it bold? Is it brave? I want to know what you guys think. Hit the comment section below. Let me know how you feel. Again, just kind of running through this. I don't want to make it too long. Y'all get the gist. Y'all get the idea of what's going on here. 1 to 60 meter hurdles by over a half second, beating Stonehill's Zoe Smith, while also taking out UMass's US Laos Elizabeth Monty. 6-year-old meet record by 0.6 seconds. And again, even as a trans, he's not that much faster, if at all, than some of these women. CeCe Telfer. In a runner 8.49 in the finals, the next fast time is 8.95, right? Again, craziness. And the thing is, this article says this person used to go on and coach. This person who had the record don't even think any worked as hard as that girl lived to her. She was an excellent athlete, finished 3rd in the state as a senior. And so that's tough. But I don't want to get into all that. And here's an article talking about how they're congratulating. We're not even going to get into that article. A lot of shenanigans, a lot of nonsense. But this is Craig, or now CeCe Telfer. And I'm going to put a lot of links in the description, man. Make sure you check all this stuff out because it's all very pertinent to this article. But my thing is, last year it was Craig, right? And he finished as a junior in the Greater Boston Track Club Invitational. He finished 2nd, losing to his teammate by 1/10 of a second. He was doing nice as a junior, right? Wasn't really breaking any records, really winning, but as soon as he became a woman, and that's in the hurdles, as soon as he became a woman, he started winning it all. What you gotta realize with the women's hurdles is they're like half an inch lower than the men's hurdles. And there's like more distance between. I'm gonna put a link in the video so you can see CeCe run. CeCe run. And it's just, and again, what I talk about with these athletes, even the ones from Connecticut, their form is terrible. And they, but they go on to compete against women and they dominate. And again, but hey, there's people out there saying there's no biological difference. It's all equality, whatever you want, until women start getting squeezed out of the picture. And the WNBA is the W or the TNBA or whatever you want to call it. It's going to be a whole different ball game. Again, not hating on anybody because I don't hate anybody, but there's just certain things that are ridiculous and we must acknowledge. It's not about how you feel. You can do whatever you want to with your body, but there's certain scientific evidence that born men are stronger than biological women. It is what it is. You see the weightlifter who just went over there and crushed a bunch of records, trans weightlifter. Why is this continue to happen? Easily continue to happen. There's a reason. Your average man can go and break a lot of women's records, and that's terrible. But all those women who work so hard to be the best in their field, and then just somebody decide, you know what? I'm not winning over here. Let me flip the script for a little bit, and they can feel free to change back because this is the world we live in, right? Let me just flip the script for a little bit. Go win me a couple of records. And the thing is, it's not going to matter in history because nobody's going to check when 5-10 years down the line, they're just going to see a name. Oh, this is who holds the record. You're not going to go back and say, oh, this was a transgender or this was anything like that. It's just going to be what it is. Anyway, I want to know how y'all feel, man. Den Folk will be live at 10 p.m. tonight, or any night, whatever night you watch is going to be 10 p.m. And generally, from here on out, 10 a.m. and 10 p.m. Then at 10, just remember that. Call in live, share your thoughts. If you want to support the channel, go to streamlabs.com and you can make a one-time donation, streamlabs.com/The Den Show. If you want to consider pledging to this channel as we're growing on a monthly basis, you can go to patreon.com/The Den Show. Several awards, several tiers there. If you really want to become a part of the Den folk and support, man, that's greatly appreciated. If not, hey, like, share, subscribe, tell a friend. It's your boy Ed Honcho, man. I'll catch y'all tonight, this morning, whatever the next show is going to be after you see this video. I'll catch y'all then. Y'all be cool like y'all be cool, man. I'm out. This is a crazy world we live in. I don't know what's happening, man. It's over. It's all over. I'm gone.